The best thing I ever did. Malaysia has unlocked my potential. My definition of success has changed dramatically. I don't regret it. I wouldn't have changed it.
One unexpected online message completely changed the direction of Jack's life, and Malaysia wasn't even part of the plan. That message brought him to Kuala Lumpur, helped launch his YouTube journey, and eventually led him to walk away from what he describes as the best corporate job he ever had. 4 years later, and Malaysia has completely changed how he thinks about success, family, and the type of life he actually wants. So today, let's sit down and have a chat with Jack and unpack how it happened, why he stayed, and whether he'd make the same decisions all over again. Before we jump in, and just a quick note that this conversation reflects the personal experiences and perspectives of the people featured in this video today. It's not legal, financial, or relocation advice. It's just a couple of dudes having a chat about life in Malaysia. And so, my friend, everybody's experience will differ depending on their own circumstances, priorities, and lifestyle. All right, let's crack on and get into the interview. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And today I am hosting another guest, and his name is Jack Alderton. So Jack has joined us today, and we're going to have a chat with him. He has been living in Malaysia for a number of years now, and he's built a successful life here in Kuala Lumpur. So thanks for coming on the channel, Jack.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. We met a few months ago, last year. We met up at a run event. So there's all these connections with expat YouTubers and expat life in Malaysia. So I'm very excited to speak to Henry today about my journey and share a bit of that with you. Maybe it inspires you or helps you create a better life for yourself.
Yeah, that's the idea about these conversations, is to share experiences and give you the opportunity to kind of see how it is out here with living in this part of the world of Southeast Asia and Malaysia, and sharing experiences, and also to meet like-minded people like Jack. It's a great way to kind of give you an insight into this type of life here. Just thinking back to the start, I was just curious about your life back in Australia. How did it look back when you were living in your home country? And yeah, the experiences that you went through growing up and then leading to the decision to move to Malaysia.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, it depends how long we've got for this interview. I could talk all day, but I think there's similar themes in a lot of Western countries. So Australia is not unique. The UK is not unique. You see the same things playing out now in the US and other parts of Europe, Canada. Australia, growing up when I was a kid, was fantastic. It was great. I had a really good upbringing, a really nice family. My parents divorced when I was 5, so that was sort of the first time that I had to split my time between different places of living. Didn't really affect me that much at the time, or so I thought. I went to the same school from kindergarten through to year 12, and I went down that traditional path of university. I studied finance. We have a bit in common there in the education system and understanding that side of like corporate life. So I went down the corporate route. So I got a corporate job. I was working as a commercial analyst, and I did that for years, but I just didn't find my thing. It just felt like the 9 to 5, the rat race, the grind wasn't for me. And I'm from Sydney, which is a major city. It's a little bit like London. It's a little bit like these other places. It's tough. It can be tough. And it does feel like you're just getting by. I wasn't sure what that was going to look like. So it got to 2019. This is where everything changed. I was sick of working that 9 to 5 job, and I quit, and I started to do freelance work. So I started doing copywriting at the time, like content writing, which has largely been displaced now by AI. But I started doing content writing and using my finance background to write financial content, which links to how I ended up in Malaysia. So at that time, I got a few clients, and I wanted to do the digital nomad thing, travel Southeast Asia. I hadn't grown up with much travel. So Australia is quite isolated. It's maybe not quite so much like the UK where you can just bounce around to other countries in the region. Australia quite isolated, and my parents never sort of took me overseas that much at all. So I loved Australia, but that's all I knew. My first trip overseas that opened my eyes to Asia was in 2017 with my first girlfriend that I had at the time. I wanted to check out Singapore. Singapore was my thing. So we did a trip to Singapore and Thailand, to Koh Samui. That opened my eyes to Asia. So a few years later, when it came to 2019, I know it's a long story, I was just set on traveling Southeast Asia. And I didn't know anything about Malaysia at this time. All I knew was Singapore. Got to 2019, 2020, early 2020 was when I booked that trip, So I had to cancel it. I was stuck at home in Sydney, and I did that for about a year before I started losing clients, and I just felt stuck. So I turned on my LinkedIn.
Bit of a shaky one there with the table.
All right. I turned on my LinkedIn, open to work, and I happened to get a message from a Malaysian company offering me a job in Malaysia. Did the interview, didn't take it too seriously, got the job, and ended up moving here for work, and it's the best thing I ever did. So that's my story and how I ended up here.
It's really interesting for you to share that insight, because there was a kind of like transformative storyline there of coming to the region first, trying it out, going to Singapore and Thailand, good places to try out and see what the culture's like, see what it's like to spend some time here and to experience what it's like in this region. Yeah. And then using that as a base to kind of seek other opportunities and to look for similar types of jobs that you're looking for, right, in Southeast Asia. And so, yeah, and this is kind of like a common theme that keeps coming out in terms of some people, when they have been working in their home country, they kind of going through the motions and haven't really found what they're looking for in terms of their future and what they're looking for in terms of their growth, both professionally and maybe even personally to an extent. So, you know, sharing these experiences shows that this is a path for people if they are interested in pursuing something like this.
If something doesn't feel right, it's probably not. And it's a big world out there and there's lots of opportunities. And I never thought I would actually be taking a job or working overseas. I'd never really considered it. In Australia, we're not really taught the value of international education. It's very much you go to an Australian university, or foreign students come to Australia to study here, but we don't have that same mindset going abroad. And I think that's a shame. I think if you have an opportunity to go abroad, wherever it is, whether it's Asia or any other country, take it. You will get amazing experiences from it. It'll open your eyes in so many ways. And my only regret is that I didn't travel and have these experiences sooner. And if I hadn't have taken this opportunity or been open to it, I wouldn't have started the YouTube channel. I wouldn't have ended up where I am today.
It's like a growth mindset type of thing, right? It kind of, you're in this environment where people are doing different things and people are trying out different ventures and different experiences, right? And it kind of gives you that growth mindset of trying something new and putting yourself out there. So yeah, really, really valuable information to share. With that idea about moving from Malaysia, was it just like one thing that kind of triggered you to move overseas? You mentioned about the experience of Southeast Asia and that kind of hustle culture of working the 9 to 5 didn't quite feel right. Was it just one or two of these major things, or was it like a few things combined?
A lot of things, a whole collection of things. Me wanting to have a new experience, me wanting to see the world, travel. This ticked all the boxes. I didn't plan this opportunity. As I said, it was a LinkedIn message that just came to me. I was open to it. I took it. And yes, this was around the end of. So I was actually working remote for those first 6 months for a company that was based here in Malaysia. And that opened my eyes. I spoke to so many different people that I wouldn't have spoken to otherwise. It took 6 months to process the visa at the time to come here. And I ended up being so excited. I was so excited to come here and see what it was actually like. And the experience when I first landed, there were 3 people on the plane over here. I did a quarantine in a hotel right near where we're sitting now, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know much about Malaysia at all at the time. Like it wasn't planned out. I did that on purpose so that I would have a very fresh experience. So it ticked a lot of the things. It was an adventure for me. It got me into a total different work culture, a work environment with different types of people. It was a different role that I'd done before. It was actually a financial writer role. So before I had done sort of the corporate spreadsheets, and now I was actually doing creative work, which is what I wanted to do. And then when I arrived, I was able to get in front of the camera. So they wanted me to actually present videos and learn the production process end to end. So it was a whole new skill set. Those first 6 months in Malaysia, I was, going out every night, dating, doing all this amazing stuff that was just a fantastic experience in so many ways. So I saw myself develop very, very fast, putting myself into a new environment. Parts of it were very uncomfortable. I took risks. I did a lot of things that maybe I recommend other people don't do. But at the same time, putting myself in that situation, I felt like I grew more in those first 6 months than I did the previous 10 years since leaving university.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it goes to show how much you kind of grew in terms of professionally and personally, right, on so many levels. And, you mentioned that idea about taking risks and going out there and seeking opportunities. And these are the things that you have to kind of go through, these situations and finding ways to grow both professionally and personally. And this is a great opportunity, right? To kind of have that opportunity to go out there, put yourself in these different unfamiliar environments, really, and then find the way, maybe network with people and meet like-minded people to discuss about ideas and sharing a best practice maybe and these type of things. So yeah, you mentioned about the idea that you moved to Malaysia and it was the first country that you lived in, but why did you pick Malaysia? Why did you not seek out other places like Bali or Thailand or Vietnam or maybe even Cambodia and these types of places? Is there anything that stood out to you when you arrived in Malaysia and kept you here? And then also at the same time, maybe is there anything else that kind of stood out to you on that side?
Love this topic. Talk about this one all day. And I like your approach that you talk about on your channel as well, is that Malaysia makes life easy in so many ways. It's not just about being cheap. It's not just about certain cultural aspects. It just makes life easier. So again, I didn't really know what to expect, but I did know that Malaysia spoke English. That was a big thing for me as someone who only grew up speaking English. I was a little bit worried about how I'd go in a country with a different language. Seems a bit silly in hindsight, but at the time, that's what I thought. And knowing that Malaysia had sort of a British history as well, I found it quite interesting and I was open-minded in that respect. And when I landed here, it truly was Southeast Asia on easy mode. I settled in very fast. I found things very easy to get accustomed to. I was able to build a life, rent an apartment, do everything I needed to do very quickly and in a high quality manner. I was blown away by the quality of the accommodation. That's probably the biggest thing, the difference between Australia or London or these Western countries versus Southeast Asia, what you can get here for your money. I could talk about this all day, you all know it, but it's true. It's not just cheaper. The quality you're getting is, I think, about 4 times the value of what I would pay in Sydney. So I got a much bigger apartment, and that's what kicked off my YouTube channel. I just did a condo tour of where I was staying.
I remember this. Yeah.
The first one, it popped off. It took me a while to actually double down and understand that people wanted to see Malaysia-based content and property from me. But when I figured it out, that was really the changing point. So that aspect of life was amazing. And yeah, those compared to other countries. So a beautiful thing about living in this region of the world, which I didn't have in Australia, was the proximity to the region, all these other countries. I never had that before. So luckily at work, we got a lot of holidays, a lot of public holidays in Malaysia, right? So I had a lot of time to explore and travel. So I went to Bangkok, I went to Vietnam, I went to Singapore again with a different mindset this time, understanding Malaysian culture more, understanding the similarities and the history there. I went to China, Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, all these different regions, Korea. Just being able to see all that. I haven't been to Cambodia yet, which that's on my list, but I wouldn't change it for a thing. Malaysia was really the best place that I think you can start in the area. It's grounded. I'm not a party guy. I did go out, I did do this exploring and dating, but I'm a little bit, I'm in my 30s now. I'm sensible and screwed on. I want to start a family. So I'm looking at it more from that aspect. And I have gone to Bali. I think it was pretty overrated. I think it's just full of, it's full of Aussies, which in a way I wanted to get away from that. As much as I appreciate having an expat community and having something in common, also don't want to be surrounded by that. So I tried to integrate as much as I could with the local Malaysian culture. I had a Chinese Malaysian girlfriend for a few years as well, which changed my experience dramatically and got me more integrated with local lifestyle. So I don't regret that, even though it didn't work out. But you have all these experiences and you got to try. Put yourself out there, try, and we talked about risk before. How risky is it really? If it's a reversible decision, like moving overseas, it depends on your scenario if you're moving with a family and there's other commitments. But as a single young man when I moved, I could have just moved back whenever I wanted to. So really, it wasn't that much of a risk.
Yeah, some interesting insight there about those assets, right? Facets of moving to Malaysia. And it is one of those places, I can speak from experience as well, of even, I've spent time in different parts of the region, and it is really like moving to Southeast Asia on easy modes. It's very easy to move here. It's very comfortable. People speak English, and it's very developed as well. It's not quite at the same level of development as somewhere like Singapore, but compared to the other kind of counterparts in Southeast Asia, it's just kind of another slight level ahead, I would say. The beauty about being here as well, like you said, it's like a hopping board, right? To go to different parts and travel other places like you've done, right?
Yes. Yeah. Another point is the trajectory. So you talked about development then. Over the last 4 years that I've been here, Malaysia has developed a lot. It's on the right path. There's so many new developments. We moved from our original office where I was working to TRX. We moved into there. We had the best office in that building. Mind-blowing. So good. World class. And more places like this are coming up in Malaysia. And it's not just about the financial metrics or the economy, it's about how people feel. People are optimistic, it's peaceful. I would say it's so much more positive an environment. And maybe it is just getting out of your home country, avoiding the politics and all the negative speak. But being here just feels so much more positive. And maybe you don't have some of the same issues like Thailand, or I don't want to talk about other countries too much, but I would say in Malaysia, it's a very peaceful, positive environment. And that affects your mind in a good way so much more than you might think or you might realize.
Yeah, I believe so. And when you speak about people living here, people are happy, and there's a very big middle class society here, and people are generally happy living their day-to-day life. And as an expat myself as well, it just kind of feels like people are going about their day-to-day life and they feel comfortable here, and the society is very integrated as well, and it feels like a peaceful place that you can just live your life and flourish and expand and grow however means you want to. After the move initially and after those first impressions, and maybe seeing those Petronas Twin Towers and seeing the tourist sites. Was there anything that kind of surprised you long term? And was there anything that you thought was better than you initially anticipated, or anything that may have been slightly harder than anticipated? Okay. Anything to share about that?
We should talk about those towers. They are spectacular. The first time you see them in person, I was blown away. They really are special. Sure. In terms of what was better than expected, I came with not too many expectations. As I said, I wanted to be pleasantly surprised than I was. So the main thing was the affordability of the condos and just the lifestyle that you could live. I mean, you spend half your day, whether it's sleeping in your bed or just being in your home. So having somewhere comfortable is amazing in a good location. I could walk to work. So I was used to the commute. Back in Sydney, I'd have to get a train and a bus, but that first place I stayed was 7-minute walking distance to the office. So that's a huge lifestyle upgrade. And then I learned how to use the train, the MRT, which blew me away. At the time, that was more developed and advanced than the train that we had in Sydney. And it was 10% of the price. So just mind-blowing how good that train was. Driverless underground train, fantastic. So the infrastructure, much better than I expected, at least in KLCC or around the area I needed to be. So I optimized my lifestyle for convenience, for ease. Yes, I was paying a bit more money than you could. Again, I'm not trying to do this cheap, and a lot of people aren't just trying to do it cheap, they're trying to live well. Yeah. They're trying to live well, they're trying to make a convenient lifestyle, and that's what you can have here. Another thing is, on that point, the flexibility. You can find ultra luxury here, and you can find ultra affordable. It's a bit of a choose your own adventure. Whereas in Western cities, there's a minimum. You can't really go below that, or you're kind of living on the street, right? So you just got a lot more options here, which is great. And that's great for locals, everyone, right? And certainly also not to say that this country is perfect and, people don't have struggles. It's nowhere is. And I've learned a lot about that as well. And even learning the history and understanding the different, the cultures here. You've got Malay, Chinese, Indian, meeting all different people from overseas. Learning about that has been huge. I didn't know much about different religions. I didn't know much about Islam. So meeting Muslims and learning about that was a huge eye-opener for me in a positive way, in such a good way. So I'm so glad I learned all about that. The biggest surprise was probably healthcare. We are told in the West, in Australia, Medicare, hospitals are the best. In my opinion, it's just not true. The experience I've had at hospitals in Malaysia, in the private system, we were given private health insurance through work, which was fantastic. And, I will put that caveat on it. But the hospitals here, the staff here, the doctors, the availability of appointments and doctors, second to none. I've done multiple videos about healthcare and hospitals on my channel, just being able to get a full health checkup done within a few hours, getting all your markers done, everything tested for like 800 ringgit, absolutely mind-blowing. I wanted to see the dentist, I can just send them a WhatsApp message and rock up in 15 minutes, like unbelievable. And that sort of convenience, whether it's something serious or something simple, just being able to get things done at a high quality institution was a real eye-opener for me, and it made me realize how things can be done. So that was a good peace of mind, knowing that the health, whether it was for me or my family, I actually brought my dad over to Malaysia as well, and we did a health checkup together. So he was super impressed. So just opening your eyes basically to how these different countries, like if you think they're behind or undeveloped, it's not necessarily the case. And even if they are slightly behind, they're going to catch up and they're going to overtake because things are going in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. So many good points there raised, and it really goes to show how this region, and Malaysia in particular, is flourishing so much with all of the conveniences, and you can kind of pick and choose how you kind of want to structure your life around those conveniences, the infrastructure, the healthcare, all of these things really stand out, and it's a part of living here that really kind of is going in the right direction. Everything's going in the right direction. I mean, obviously, like you said, there may be some challenges here or there, and no place is perfect, but the overall kind of general trend of the trajectory of Malaysia is very positive indeed, right? So what's really interesting about your background is you came here to work in the corporate field of a company, right? And you worked in that industry for a number of years in Malaysia and made good progress there. But then you've recently made the decision to kind of quit the corporate role, so to speak, and pursue this kind of career of content creation and kind of doing your own thing and building around that. So how was the experience of making that decision? Did anyone try and talk you out of it, or were there any emotions that you felt through going through that decision? And I guess in the same breath as well, how's it kind of played out? So I guess it's been a little while now since you've kind of taken action, made that decision, and then tried it out, so to speak.
It's actually been a year. I didn't talk about this much on the channel, and when I posted the video, I knew it would be a big announcement and people would, take it very seriously, and it was a serious decision. I don't want to pretend it wasn't. It was. I was thinking about it a year before I ended up quitting. When's the right time? My YouTube channel started taking off. I started enjoying that more, and it was always this question at the back of my mind: when am I going to make the leap? Because I did it before. My best decisions in life had come from when I'd completely changed up my situation. I knew that. So whether that was leaving my job originally in Sydney in 2019, whether it was moving to Malaysia for this job in what ended up being 2022, and then now making this decision 3-4 years later to quit that job that changed everything for me and then go out on my own and see what's next, was a huge decision. And people did try to make me question. I had a really good job. I'm not going to beat around the bush on that. My circumstances is unique. The job I had in Malaysia was better than what I could have got in Australia in almost every way. It was the best company I ever worked for. If you asked me what my ideal job, 9 to 5, would be, it was that. It was so flexible. I learned so much, surrounded by so many great people, paid well. It ticked all the boxes. So for a lot of people, they would think it's crazy to leave. But I knew if I didn't, I would regret it. I would regret staying there because this YouTube channel, this travel lifestyle, there's so much more of the world I wanted to see. So I made that decision. There were other circumstances as well behind that, why I made the decision, but I'm glad I did because it created the opportunity for me to have my next experiences and my next growth arc. In the video I made about why I quit that job, I talked about the concept of serendipity. I don't know if you're aware of the term, but it's basically letting random chance happen in your life. You need to create circumstances for random opportunities to happen. If you stick to the same routine, nothing different's going to happen. You're going to have the same thing. You're not leaving it open to chance. I know this is a bit ethereal, it's a bit philosophical, but the best people I've met, have the best opportunities have come through chance and creating space, saying yes to things. So I'm glad I did it. It's been almost a year now. I've traveled, I've gone to so many other countries. Over the last few months, I spent about a month in Vietnam. I did a 10-day silent meditation retreat in the Philippines in December, which was internal work that I never would have had time, or I made the excuse while I had a job not to do that because the idea of taking 10 days of leave just to sit there and do nothing seemed crazy, so I never did it. But since I quit that job, there was no excuse. So I did it, and hardest thing I did in my life, best thing I did in my life. So many opportunities like this have come up. So it's coming up now to a year since I left that job. I don't regret it. I wouldn't have changed it. I would have done everything the same. And I am uncertain, but also excited about what comes next. So stay tuned to see what happens next on the journey.
For sure. And, kudos. I mean, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of determination to make a decision like this. And it's not something to take lightly, like you said. But I think sometimes if you have that internal feeling of something pulling you towards that type of decision, then it's something that you maybe want to check out, right? Because, you only have so many chances in life to kind of pursue these type of things, right? And the timing as well, you'd maybe been in the role for a few years and you kind of maybe had that feeling of, what's coming next. So, if you're feeling similar feelings and have those type of thoughts and you're thinking about making a change and it works out for you in terms of your circumstances, then do it, because Jack's a very good example of someone who has made that decision and kind of taken that leap of faith, so to speak, and it's worked out for you. I mean, I'm sure obviously there's a lot of twists and turns along the way and things to figure out, but that's life, isn't it? In terms of the journey that you've gone through, has your definition or your ideas around success changed? And how's that evolved over time? And has Malaysia kind of, your experiences here factored into that, so to speak? And I guess kind of also, what does the journey look like ahead? Do you have what other plans do you have looking further ahead?
My definition of success has changed dramatically. So I grew up in similar Western environment. It's go to uni, get a good job, get married, buy a house, get a mortgage. That was the definition of success. And that just never sort of sat right with me. I knew that's just not my path. So coming into this new environment, seeing how people live here, how they think different, a big thing is the importance of family. Yeah. Now, my position might be unique. My parents, as I mentioned before, divorced when I was quite young. Everyone was sort of spread out. My parents had lived separate. Everyone in my family basically lives by themselves. There's not that sort of family environment. And a lot of people have that situation, and it's something I just thought was kind of normal, and I didn't put too much importance on family. Coming here, I've seen the Asian culture, how the family life is very different in a positive way. I mean, there's pros and cons to that. I've seen the bad side of that too, but mostly the importance of family, the fact that they live together in one household, the grandparents get involved with the grandkids. The whole situation is different and changed my mind on what success actually is. I've seen families that really don't have much at all, but they are genuinely happy and purposeful and fulfilled because their whole life is surrounded by their family, and that's probably the biggest thing that's become most important to me. Maybe not the answer you expected, but it's the idea of having a solid family of my own. So I want to have a wife, I want to have kids, and I've seen how I've interviewed families that travel full-time with kids, changed my perspective on what it's like to raise a kid. You don't have to be in one place. Going to international schools here, as you know very well yourself, getting exposure to children being raised in an environment with all these different other cultures and expat children is absolutely mind-blowing. They're so impressive. I've spoken to these students. They're 10 years old. They can speak 4 or 5 languages. They've seen so many different experiences that I never had at that same age. So while I was very academically focused, it's it's not what's so important to me anymore. I want to be able to create a life where my children have the same experiences that I've had, and my definition of success has changed a lot after doing the inner work of what does that mean to me? What does it mean to you? You need to come up with that definition. There is no right answer. There is no definition of success other than the one that you give it and you make it. And Malaysia was an integral part of me defining that for myself. Had I not moved countries, I would have been on the same path, and I probably wouldn't have been fulfilled, even if financially I was better off for all these other factors. I've just seen it, and I don't have the answer now. You ask what comes next. What comes next is for me to continue to travel, to keep creating content, to keep meeting cool people and learning from these experiences. I care a lot more now about helping people. That's why we make these videos. It's to help you, and that is more meaningful than anything I can do for myself. Like, the reason I care about getting subscribers is because I feel like I'm helping more people, not that it's pumping up my numbers or somehow benefiting me. All right. So that's probably the biggest shift. And moving forward, my main thing will be having a family and building a life that I can pass on sort of my knowledge.
If you had the chance again, if you're, say, go back again, if you're in Australia and you knew everything you knew now, would you still make the same decision to leave Australia? And in the future, is there any likelihood or thoughts about going back? And then also on that same coin as well, if you were to leave Malaysia and Southeast Asia and these places, is there anything that you'd miss the most? And is there anything that would kind of keep drawing you back?
Wow, love that question. Would I have changed anything? Yes, I would have moved a lot sooner. I would have taken the leap as soon as I knew it was possible. Whether that's a university exchange program, do it. Whether it's looking for an international job as soon as you graduate, do it. I would have done it a lot sooner. So yes, I don't regret it in any way other than I should have done it sooner, because the advantages, like the lessons I learned, they're going to pay off for the rest of my life. So the sooner you can have those experiences, the sooner you can get this new knowledge, the better, right? So that answers that question. In terms of Australia, it's an interesting one. I'm going to be spending more time in Australia. Again, I realize the importance of family, not just creating my own family, but valuing my own family that I already have more than I did before. Being away from home, not having my mum or my dad there. You know, when you're there all the time, you go family events. I got a bit sick of it. Actually, part of me wanted to go to a different country and be away, to be honest. But at the same time, it made me appreciate family so much more. I have younger sisters. I have 3 younger sisters. I didn't spend much time with them, my younger sisters in the formative years, and I appreciate the time I get to spend with them now a lot more. And they've grown up. One of them just turned 18. She's an adult, and that sort of just passed me by. So the importance of family, I do want to spend a lot more time in Australia. For that reason, Australia is not a bad country. It's a great country. And being able to go overseas, have these experiences, develop as a person, and then bring that home to your home country, return with that knowledge, and whether it's making you a better person, your family a better place, your community a better place through your experiences, that's what you can bring to the table. So that's sort of what I'm looking at. I'm still figuring out my next adventures. I'm going to be going to Europe soon to try that out and see some different countries there, because I haven't been to Europe properly, and I would love to see that. But Asia will always be a base and always a second home to me. It always will be, because and you asked me what I'd miss as well. The convenience, the ease, the medical system. I very much know now, dealing with the hospitals here, if I have some sort of elective problem back in Australia, I would rather hop on a flight to Malaysia, book it in at Prince Quarter, one of these hospitals, and just get it done rather than waiting in the system back home. So little things like that, just knowing that you have other options that are trustworthy, knowing I have information to share with people who visit this region, whether that's family or friends. I love making these videos to show off, the information and the lifestyle and being able to help people. So that's what I would miss the most. And there's so much more vibrant parts, as we kind of mentioned, in Southeast Asia, not just Malaysia. I spent a month in Vietnam recently, totally opened my eyes to a totally different lifestyle. And the most difficult thing for me was I realized that I could essentially, if I gave up the idea of family as a young single male, I could essentially retire in Vietnam or Malaysia or one of these low cost of living countries. I could retire today, live by the beach, and be very happy on my own. That was a realization I had earlier this year, which made me dig deeper about what's the real reason I'm doing things. Why would I go back to Australia, get a job, go back to the hustle and the grind when that's what I tried to escape? Because there's bigger reasons to do things. And the fact that it doesn't discount any of the experiences or the knowledge I have here, actually is leveraging it. It's going, I've seen this other part of the world. It's always an option. Who knows what will happen in the future? I might get married, have kids, raise them in Malaysia. It's absolutely possible. And, you know, maybe that will happen.
If someone was feeling stuck and they're thinking about moving abroad, would there be any advice that you give them?
It's easy for me to say, just do it, right? But everyone has different circumstances and you may not be able to just pack up and go. But what I really would do is question yourself very hard. What is actually stopping you from changing your life? Because you will find, most people will find, it's a limiting belief in their head. You can take steps to completely change things if you wanted to. All right, whether that's getting rid of stuff. Some people just have so much stuff and they feel like they have nowhere to put it. So just get rid of it, then you're free, right? Get a suitcase, do some research, watch some YouTube videos like this, educate yourself, figure out what the option is. Even if you don't book the flight, just know what exists, do some basic research. Money-wise, you probably need less than you think, and you don't need to totally relocate your life as well. It's a big decision to move countries, but it's easy to come here on a holiday. It's inexpensive. You can do it. You probably can do it. So take a step. Take one step is what I would say. So many people, or you think too far ahead. I need to sort out this. Just take one little baby step and take action. I speak to people who've been watching my videos for years and they're finally getting on the plane and they've booked that ticket to come here. And I'm so proud of them. So proud of them. Everyone has their own timeline. So my advice would be just do it. But if you can't just do it, just take a little step. Reach out to Henry or I, send us a message. I love hearing from people. When I can get back to you, I will. And if I can speak to you one-on-one and in any way motivate you or inspire you or change your life, I'd love to do that. So that would be my advice. Just look at what you can do.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes it can be like really big thoughts, isn't it, to kind of permanently relocate immediately. So baby steps at a time and just doing what you can, right? And just taking that trip when you can. And like you said, even if you can't immediately do it at that point, reach out to people, speak, do some research. Knowledge is power, right? So the more you kind of start to research it and think about the idea, you can kind of create the opportunity in the future to at least come and try it out as a holiday and see where it goes, right? Like your own personal development since you moved overseas and moved abroad, is there anything that really stands out in terms of your personal development that's changed the most since moving overseas? And then thinking about Malaysia as the place that you spent the most time, if you could describe Malaysia in one sentence, how would you summarize it to the viewers?
I'll answer the second question first. Southeast Asia on easy mode, or life on easy mode. It's just so easy to settle in with low friction, and you will get so much bang for your buck, not just in terms of monetary aspect, but in terms of the effort and lessons that you'll learn, as in access to different cultures and the experiences you'll have. You could have one night out and you could meet people from 10 different countries and you could totally change your view on life through so many different conversations. So in terms of, you being able to go out there and have experiences that change your life and you learn from it, that's what Malaysia is. I really haven't found anywhere better than Malaysia for personal growth as an English speaker coming from a Western country, for me. On the second part of that question, what have I learned about myself? Which relates to the first part, that you have so much more potential than you realize. Malaysia has unlocked my potential in ways that I didn't even realize, in ways that I was never valued for back home. Yes, there's this privileged aspect. I came here as a white person with an Australian accent. They appreciated that. They wanted to put me in front of the camera. That got me to develop a whole new skill. I was given that opportunity and I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for Exness, the company that I work for. I'm grateful for all the other expats that gave me the opportunity to do that. I don't take it for granted. Maybe you just need to change your environment. If you're just not valued for some aspect of your life or your passion, another thing is just talk about your passions. Have the freedom to talk about what you like and what you do. Yeah. Starting a YouTube channel, which kicked off due to Malaysia, allowed me to share my views, to meet people, to develop new skills, to help people, change my life in so many ways. So basically unlocking my potential that I knew that I had. And maybe I need to go somewhere else or put myself in a different circumstances to grow to the next level. But I will say this, if you just stay where you are doing the same thing, nothing will change. Or it'll be a lot harder for you to change than totally changing your environment. So that's the biggest thing I learned, is doing the internal work and unlocking my potential. And I hope you can do that too.
That's a great way to kind of give insight into the biggest changes and the experiences that you've been through overseas, and kind of summarising Malaysia in that one sentence. So yeah, there's a lot of really interesting insights that have been shared in this conversation, and I hope that you found some value in this. Everybody's situation is different, but it's good to kind of do your research and get information from conversations like this, because it can give you a real understanding and a kind of boots on the ground take, so to speak, about what it's like out here, how to plan, and things to be aware of to kind of find the way and to have these type of experiences and to look for ways to maximise your potential and to find these opportunities out here. So yeah, really appreciate Jack coming on the channel today. And if you are interested and you don't know about Jack's channel already, I'll link it in the video description below. He does some really awesome content here in Malaysia about all different aspects of moving to Malaysia and things to be aware about when you're here, and all different types of the lifestyle that you can expect about living in Malaysia. And he's one of the leading content creators in the country. So highly recommend you go and check his channel out. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on the channel today.
Thanks so much, Henry.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so we'll see you next one, guys. Peace out and see you soon.